Right.
10 seconds.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6,
5, 4,
3, 2,
1.
1.
Maximum speed.
Maximum scan, Kelly.
Maximum power.
American TV sci-fi has always been able to spend megabucks on mile-long spaceships like Starship Enterprise and Battlestar Galactica, floating cities populated by aging actors granted a second lease of life by wigs made of real hair. British TV sci-fi has never had the money for the futuristic hardware, but talk is cheap. The result? Space talk.
Bus A and B on, RefSmat 003151000, -5 plus 23.
Okay. Yes,
Engine
fine.
override arm off, time base 6 all zeros, hypergolics 9899, pressures are nominal. On my mark, -20. Mark.
Mark 20, bus A and B on.
RefSmat 003151000, -5 plus 23. Engine override arm off, time base 6 all zeros, hypergolics 9899, pressures are nominal.
-5 plus 23. Or to put it another way, plus 18. But how to finance the key element of any TV sci-fi plot? The alien threat to life as we know it. In an early 70s series like Doomwatch, this challenge was met by just choosing some threat we had on Earth already and subjecting it to the concentrated Zeta-3 particle technology of the BBC's props department.
Which means that we have got a reasoning carnivorous animal. Ratus sapiens.
Got him! Oh!
Early on in TV sci-fi history, women were shy, uncertain creatures. Even when they were scientists, they apologized for the complicated thoughts that sprang into their pretty little heads.
Father, I believe there's something you've missed. It might mean you're entirely wrong.
What?
You said an atmosphere of ammonia and methane. But an asteroid as small as that couldn't hold an atmosphere.
Obviously, it's not a natural asteroid.
Of course. Sorry, I'm being so stupid.
But as the sci-fi shows traveled on into time, space women leapt ahead of their struggling sisters on Earth with the kind of confidence made possible by scientific know-how and unlimited access to the all-polyester fashion wardrobe of the future. Enter the Space Babe.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. You're new here, aren't you?
Uh-huh.
You must have passed all the tests.
All of them.
I bet.
How can we ever go back to wearing regulation uniforms again? Hope you'll give us a second look.
Hello, hello, hello.
Ah, Jenna, this is Professor Kane's assistant. His name is...
Reno. And I had a feeling this was going to be a good day.
Yes, well, don't let your feelings run away with you.
Oh, a sense of humor, too. I love girls with a sense of humor.
Yes, I can see where that would be an advantage.
And with us tonight is one of my all-time favorite space babes, Sally Navette. Sally, did you enjoy all the power and responsibility of being a woman in space?
Well, looking at it right there, you'd think I had a lot. I have to say, I started off as an intergalactic space pirate, but I rapidly became a clothes horse, I think. And within a few weeks, the boys took over. They made all the decisions, and I was a little bit more like the lady in Quatermass. Yeah. Sort of standing behind and saying, yes, Blake, no, Blake. I stood behind and played with the boosters, basically. And
well, you certainly played with my boosters. Sally, next time I'm looking for a night out under the asteroids, I'll call you up. What was that number again? 00 -5 plus 23? Thank you very much, Sally Navette. In British TV sci-fi, space travel has always been very expensive. Cheaper and more effective is time travel. British TV Sci-Fi's all-time most timeless time traveller could travel by police phone box to any epoch and also had the magic capacity to alter his appearance every few years when the previous actor was worn out by the punishing production schedule.
They're saying I'm a charlatan. What concrete evidence would satisfy you,
Just open the doors, Dr. Foreman.
Eh? Doctor who?
Also changing appearance as time went on was Doctor Who's dishy girl assistant. Whether screaming her head off or just being tremendously helpful, the Doc's time babe did great things for the ratings. For all of us men travelling only one way through time, the girl assistant we can put a name to tells us how old we are. Several of Doctor Who's girl assistants have travelled through time to assist us tonight. With us are Annika Wills, who played Polly, Nicola Bryant, who played Perry, and Sophie Aldred, who played Ace. And ladies, I would be correct, wouldn't I, in assuming that the basic function of the girl assistant was to provide the sex interest?
Ah, well, you see, the thing is, I was the first sexy companion of Doctor Who, because before that, I don't know, they'd seen it as a children's programme, so it was, you know, it was Bill Hartnell's granddaughter or a sort of frumpy schoolmistress. So I was the first kind of, you know, sexy, juicy, yeah.
I suppose they figured out that Dad was watching too. That was the idea, wasn't it?
Well, apparently, the dads were the ones who liked Polly best.
Was all the screaming really necessary to the plot?
I was lucky, I suppose, in that I never got to scream. My character marked a bit of a departure for the Doctor Who girls. I never twisted my ankle in a quarry or wore unsuitable footwear. I was in sensible Doc Martens, and I was a real tomboy. I beat up a Dalek with a baseball bat and got rid of a load of Cybermen, and I never screamed.
Well, Nicola, you actually got voted as the best all-time girl assistant screamer, didn't you?
Yes, I mean, they do a lot of sort of polls and surveys in the fan magazines and various books, and I was definitely one of the heartiest sets of lungs. And you had to scream in key, you know, make sure it went into the end titles.
It's a lot to ask, but can you still do that scream?
I can, and being asked to do it is enough to make anybody scream.
Yeah.
You want it, don't
Yes,
you?
yes, I do. I want it badly.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
That was all three girl assistants screaming at once. Thank you very much. When the threat turned up on screen, it was usually in the form of a monster. Generations of anonymous actors were exposed to the horrifying interiors of monster costumes. Whether the exteriors were equally horrifying was a matter of the viewer's credulity. I myself remain stunned to this day.
Wait, sir. Look.
With monsters as with spaceships, hardware costs, and a good monster costume could cost as much as a second-hand fur coat. Doctor Who solved this problem with the Dalek, a monster that could be run up out of kitchen utensils and kept in storage without mothballs.
The Daleks will rule the universe! Inside each of those shells is a living, bubbling lump of hate.
Exterminate the Doctor! Exterminate the Doctor! Exterminate the Doctor! Exterminate! Exterminate! Exterminate!
And with us tonight is a man who knows the hidden secrets of the Daleks, John Scott Martin. John, you spent a lot of time inside a Dalek. What exactly went on in there?
Well, in the Dalek, we were very busy. It helped if you were an octopus, because you needed 2 hands to fire the gun. You need another hand for the sink plunger, which was very useful for getting out of tight corners. You trundled along on bicycle wheels.
Oh, you weren't walking?
Oh, you weren't. Well,
it was a scooter.
Sometimes you sat down and walked. Yeah. Other times you had bike wheels to do it, to get a bit more speed.
How did you navigate?
We had a little observation hatch at the front of the Dalek and the back of the Dalek, and providing you had clearance, you could see there.
Who was your favourite Doctor Who?
Doctor? Our favourite Doctor is a terminated Doctor, an exterminated Doctor, an exterminated Doctor.
Thank you, John Scott Martin. The monsters that Doctor Who defended us from got close to taking over, but finally they couldn't win against human ingenuity, because human beings, clever enough to be actors, could conceal themselves in ways that made them undetectable to monstral vision. Would you have been able to spot the human being in these sequences if you had been in the monster's place? Really smart monsters disguise themselves as human beings, thus saving on the costume budget until the moment when they reveal themselves in order to show the human race what horrors it was up against. As we bridge into part 2, can you remember what Scareth, last of the Jaggeroth, really looked like when he wasn't cunningly disguised as Julian Glover?
Who are you? I am Scaroth.
Scaroth?
Last of the Jaggeroth.
What are the Jaggeroth?
I shall show you what you want to know, my dear.
I am Scaroth. Through me, my people will live again.
Scareth, last of the Jaggeroth, or as the rest of the band calls him, Mick. Doctor Who is the one and only British TV sci-fi international hit, and it goes on making money all over the world. But my own idea of the greatest ever British sci-fi series was Blake 7, because Blake and his intrepid companions dared to go where the budget said they could never go, in their very own spaceship converted at great expense out of a light fitting.
Zen, can we get past them?
Battle computer suggests surrender.
Logic says we're dead.
Right, hang on, everyone. This is going to be rough.
Blake 7 also had slow fighting. Slow fighting has always been very common in TV sci-fi space, partly because of the low gravity, mainly because of the short rehearsal time. But Blake 7's slow fighting was really slow.
You better get her out of here. I really rather enjoyed that.
Where Blake 7 scored big was in Space Talk. There was no -5 + 23 for Blake 7. When they cut loose with the scientific language, it sounded like $1 million, thus taking your mind off costumes that looked like £11.50 from a car boot sale.
Hyperspace subbeam. That originates here and here. All messages are converted into Zeta-3 particles and then scrambled.
Single function isomorphic response.
What?
Well, now, there is technology and there is technology. Anyone who can transmute mass and energy on a planetary scale is not going to upset himself too much over my little sidearm, or a neutron blaster come to that.
You speak knowledgeably.
I can recognize germanium circuitry when I see it.
But above all, Blake 7 had Servalan, the femme fatale space babe who was always threatening to blast Blake out of his vectors with one burst from her battery of hyperplasmic spasm guns. Why did she hesitate? Because despite her limitless evil, Servalan, as played by the suavely sinuous Jacqueline Pearce in a variety of haute couture space gowns for evening wear, had a soft spot for the chaps.
Have you nothing to say to Servalan?
Woman, you're beautiful.
Guards! Take this primitive to the punishment cells.
Being shut in here with you is rather like being locked in a cage with a panther. A black cat with large golden eyes and long silver talons.
Oh, Tarrant. I'm just the girl next door. There is the question of that degrading and primitive act to which I was subjected in the control room. I should like you to do it again.
And the good news is that the most formidable ever threat to Earth's existence is with us tonight. Jacqueline Pearce, what did you think of your costumes in Blake 7?
Well, they started out reasonably well, but we had different designers throughout the show. And by the time we got to the 4th series, we had a designer called Nicky Rocker, who was obviously known as Rocky Knickers. And he'd previously worked on the Shirley Bassey show. And I always thought that he thought Servalan was Shirley Bassey in space. And the costumes reflected that.
Did you enjoy playing the intergalactic vamp?
I did enjoy it very much. It was a hugely challenging part because we are so diametrically opposed. Servalan was so wonderful because she was very confident in her sexuality and she used it to great effect whenever she could. And I'm not like that at all. I can't even tell if someone fancies me. I say to girls...
You should have been able to tell that I fancy you from where I was sitting. Anyway, Jacqueline, I can't let you go without reminding you of the moment when even Blake 7's smartest, coldest and most impervious crew member almost gave away the fate of planet Earth for one taste of your luscious lips. You must remember this. I know I do, and I think he does too.
I don't think of you as an enemy, Avon. I think of you as a future friend.
Your plan. It better be fireproof, Servalan, or I'll see you burn with it. Callie,
Yes, Avon?
I'm ready to come up now.
Servalan! Absolute power! Does watching TV sci-fi expand the mind? Or is it a complete waste of time? Does completely wasting your time expand your mind? The man who might know the answer to these profound questions is the standout visiting star of Whose Line Is It Anyway and many other of our TV programs, a man whose brain has been profoundly influenced, like mine, by watching thousands of hours of space gibberish. It's Greg Proops.
Hello, Clive.
Good to see you.
Nice to see you.
So, Greg, you'll have gathered that I go for Servalan. Did you have a Servalan figure in American TV sci-fi shows?
No, we didn't have the evil hotties. You had them here. We only had the one Star Trek episode where Spock fell in love with the evil Romulan commander, and she had the eyebrows like him and whatever, and they were cousin races, so it was like super hot.
Yeah. and of course, Vulcan men are very, very good at that kind of stuff, because they...
Yes, they wait 11 years, and
yeah.
So they're ready when the time comes. And then I think they have to kill their mate, which is the fun part.
Yeah. So how does American TV sci-fi differ from the British?
Well, I think production values. We had them. We spent the money and had sets and a fight choreographer and all kinds of things.
Did you have monsters like ours in your shows?
Yeah, we had mostly rock creatures. That seemed to be very popular on Star Trek because they don't move, and immobility in a monster seems to be key. Highly developed races, one thing you can always count on is that their movement's terrible. There's no ballet dancing in the future. There's no running, really. There's kind of lurching from side to side and an inability to see. They could have a cranium the size of a basketball, but they won't see you if you... The one guy just moved his head, which I like. Where are they? Where are they? You know?
And I think in our shows, slow fighting also suspended reality.
Well, I think it makes it more exciting to slow it down. Evidently, the fight choreographers here were very high, and everything had to go at a kind of manageable speed. And no, Star Trek had better fights, I think, because you were just looking forward to Kirk, and maybe the hair would come off one time.
I was actually very interested in Kirk's wig as the centuries went by and the star dates accumulated. The wig actually got bigger.
Yeah, it actually went where no follicles have ever gone before.
And screaming, of course, was a prerequisite to becoming a Doctor Who assistant. Our girls scream better than yours.
Oh, totally. There's a lot of high-pitched British screaming that's awesome. The women in Star Trek tended to fall in love with Kirk and then die by the end of the episode. So if you were introduced to a female character, you were guaranteed 50 minutes of happiness before the Tusk people of Shnemnon tied them to a dish or something.
I did notice that about Kirk. He seemed to, his girlfriend seemed to be scattered through the universe like cosmic dust, didn't he?
Yeah, yeah.
He had a girl on every asteroid. It was like a sort of Bill Clinton. There was a Monica Lewinsky on every asteroid waiting for him.
Yeah, but he never got caught. And they also tended to clean their uniforms, I think. Well, in the ship's laundry.
Apart from us, who watches these shows?
Losers. And, no, I joke, of course, and I quip, and people who spend a lot of time on the internet. No. People with no friends. No, I think people who, you know, it's fantasy-filled, so I think you got to have a little bit of an imagination, particularly to fill in where the rock people are. And I think everybody digs it.
I've always loved the TV sci-fi. I think when we watch it, we're looking at life. It's just not life as we know it. Thank you very much, Greg Proops.
Clive, thank you.
Yeah, don't beam down here. If we had to sum up British sci-fi in a word, the best word would be unafraid. Unafraid of calling an old radio console the control desk of a space cruiser. Unafraid of sending on the monster in the recut coverings of an old sofa. Unafraid even of taking the next logical step with a space opera's deathless dialogue and actually setting it to music.
All of my work and all of my play, from the back of the morning to the break of the day, it belongs to you.
Ever since I was a little girl, with a gem-like flame, the spirit of science has burned in my brain. Never had any dolls, just a chemistry set. Always knew I